Hello and welcome to Queensland Raceway on the outskirts of Brisbane, where bright and sunny weather greets us for the second round of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship. Today we'll be featuring all the action from the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, along with the Matris dampers, Supersports and Amsport 600s. First up is the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes, and as we take a look at the standings, it's Brendan McIntyre who's atop of the table after the opening round in Sydney. Last year's Supersport champion Sam Lambert sits a single point behind him with a further 25-point gap to Ryan Yanko, who sits in third. Andrew Thompson and Simon Galloway round up the top five. Unfortunately, Sam Lambert will not be taking part in any of the racing this weekend as he suffered a leg injury just a week prior to this round. But all is not lost for the @1 Pro Race Suits team as they welcomed on board the 2016 Australasian Superbike champion, Robbie Bugden, for this round. They both caught up with Becky Lamb a short time ago.
Sam Lambert, I've just walked past your garage and noticed that you're here this weekend, but you're not kitted out to be racing. What's happening?
Yeah, I was involved in a little accident at a race meeting last weekend down in Adelaide at one of the new circuits, and so I unfortunately ended up coming off second best and had a foot peg go up into my leg and tear through a few vital areas. So yeah, I've had to sit this one out. So Robbie Bugden's taken my seat for this one just to try and stop some of the riders getting a few points on me. So trying to keep in the fight for the championship.
And certainly a fight that it is. Now, we know that your bike's here, you're not necessarily racing, but how long is this injury going to take to heal for you, to see us watching you back on the track?
Well, I'm hoping to be back on a bike within the next month or so, so I'm just going to be hitting the physio up and just getting a heap of rest over that time, and yeah, just try and get back on the bike as quickly as possible. I don't think it's hindered me in any way mentally, so I've always been able to get back up and get going. The only reason I didn't get back up and going in the other race was just because of the injury, so being so bad. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next round.
Obviously, this is something that's come in pretty late. You know, Sam unfortunately got hurt, and you know, I got the call up from Dominic, asked to ride his bike, and you know, I jumped at the chance, and it's been great. It's you know, the Kawasaki ZX-10 with @1 Racing is a great bike, and I've really gelled with it. So yeah, look, we're going to just do our best. You know, it's there's not much more we can do, and you know, I'm lucky I've got some great people around me, and like I say, a great bike, so there's no reason why we can't be right up the front.
Well, we wish Sam Lambert the very best in his recovery and hope to see him back riding at round 3 when we travel to Lakeside Park in September for the first national level bike meeting in over 2 decades. Riders are on the track now for the first of 3 races, so let's have a look at the grid. Robbie Bugden leads the front row with Heath Griffin, Chris Quinn and Andrew Thompson. On the second row we have Michael Edwards, Simon Galloway, Brett Kitchen and Tim Griffith. The third row consists of Dean Hasler, with series leader Brendan McIntyre starting down in an uncharacteristic 10th spot. Yanni Shaw and John Stamner sit beside the Suzuki rider, and on the fourth and final row we have Hamish McMurray and Carlos Rendon in this field of 14 starters. And let's make that 13 as Michael Edwards has pulled off the side of the track just as we're about to get underway in this first Sunday race. A huge disappointment for the North Star Yamaha rider. Officials at the front moving away, indicating all eyes on the starting lights. Who will it be that gets the best? Oh, a little bit of movement, mumbo-jumbo there from some of them, but it looks like Robbie Bugden's going to get the whole shot down the end of Hi-Tec Oils through Shark Leathers for the first time. It's Robbie Bugden on the @1 Pro Race Suits Kawasaki that leads the field.
And Yanko follows in close pursuit at the moment, like he did yesterday, but unlike the earlier race where he absolutely dominated, he hasn't had it all his own way here this weekend. He has got close to Bugden on a couple of occasions, but Bugden in the end has prevailed quite comfortably.
Yes, down the end of bikehaggle.com.au straight into Matris dampers. It is the 24 of Robbie Bugden with the 182 of Yanko right behind him. But look out for Chris Quinn and Thompson behind them. They're not that far away, but the front 2 runners have opened up a little bit of an early lead.
Certainly have. Into Lord of the Lake for the first time. Field running smoothly thus far. Bugden the leader. He's opened up a margin of about 5 or 6 bike lengths at the moment. And the rest of the pack follows in close pursuit once you get past Yanko. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all very close by. And now a move here on the inside. Possibly, no, not able to get that done just yet as they come back to the Hi-Tec Oils main straight. 1 down, 8 to go. Race 3 of the Superbikes.
You can see there that Sam Lambert in the program has entered as number 54. In fact, it's 24 of Robbie Bugden that takes his place. It is the @1 Pro Race Suits BC Performance Moto Hub Silverline Liquid Performance Hell Australia Kawasaki ZX10R that leads at the moment. Ryan Yanko, 0.8 of a second in arrears. Simon Galloway doing a great job up on board that machine, number 46. Brendan McIntyre on the Western Motorcycle 7 Friday. Suzuki is under a bit of challenge there now from Chris Quinn. Quinn gets up, no it's not, it's the 82, yes it is, sorry, it is Chris Quinn, who gets up the inside of him momentarily, but couldn't maintain that race pace. So you'll find now that I think McIntyre is up into 4th.
Galloway and McIntyre, the big movers off the start there. Quinn and Thompson slip back a little bit, but are slowly working their way forward. And that's the good thing. They've got 9 laps, so they've got a little bit of time to do it, but they won't want to give them too much of a buffer or they won't get it back. So Bugden leading as they come into the final corner for the second time.
Yeah, a bit of a concertina effect for the minor placings here, from around about 4th place through to 9th place, which includes the likes of McIntyre, Kingshaw, Thompson, Hasler, Kitchener and Griffith are all battling it out for that minor placing, because the minor placing is being held at the moment in terms of 3rd place by Simon Galloway. What a great effort from him. I touched on the story of the fact that he only got this bike and put it together by lunchtime on Thursday. He left his place of employment, Chris Watson Motorcycles, drove all the way up here, solid 10.5 hours, got a little bit of sleep, put the bike out on the track and has had nothing but troubles in his terms. He said, I've had nothing but troubles, Lance, in setting this bike up because it's so brand new. He said, the old girl, I lunched at Engine down in South Australia. I've had to start from scratch again. I was always going to get this new bike about this time, but it's forced the issue. Now he's under a little bit of pressure as I speak in 3rd place, and that pressure is being applied on him by I think you'll find it is Chris Quinn right behind him, and McIntyre not that far in arrears in 5th place.
It's interesting, isn't it? You say that he, in his words, had nothing but problems with it across the course of the weekend. Yet he'll take confidence out of having a good result like that, being in 3rd, 4th at the moment, fighting for those minor placings at the end of the podium, going with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, Robbie Bugden there, as you can see, Ryan Yanko 3.3 seconds behind, so it's a fairly comfortable lead that he's got at the moment. Bugden's just put in the best time of the event so far, a 1:11.05 on that 3rd lap that he's just completed. Personal best times for Quinn, Thompson, McIntyre, Shaw, Kitchen and Hasler, and also Tim Griffith back there as far as in 10th placing on that 3rd lap.
Is it just my imagination, or is Hasler a little bit further down than what he was yesterday?
He is a lot further down than what he was yesterday. Yes, well pointed out there. He was up towards the pointy end of the field. And it's interesting to see some people will make massive gains overnight on the difference between their performance on the Saturday program to the Sunday. Case in hand, Brendan McIntyre on the Western Motorcycle 7 Friday, Rick Popjoy, Suzuki. He was struggling yesterday, but he seems to be more comfortable in this early stages today.
Yep, it's funny what Sunday weather can do. Now, we've got some interesting jockeying for position here in the Chris Quinn bike, of course, on Simon Galloway at the moment, as they make their way down towards turn 1, up the inside.
Yeah, Chris Quinn did a good job there. He forced the issue down in shock treatment, didn't he? And he got the racing line, a little bit of slipstreaming down the Hi-Tec Oils main straight, and that was enough for him to be able to snap to the inside through Shark Leathers and take up the running of 3rd place. But he's a little bit wobbly there, almost gets it off the black stuff, has to snap to the inside of bikehaggle.com, and in turn now Simon Galloway under pressure from Thompson. Thompson comes up the inside and takes over 4th place.
And he had a little bo peep at 3rd as well, coming out of there, out of turn 3 on the run up to bikeviz.com.au and into Lord of the Lakes. So a very good manoeuvre there to get up into 4th spot. Galloway and Quinn and Thompson, this battle continues. And I quite mentioned there, I noticed there when they come out of turn 2, because of the fact that the 3rd and 4th were battling, that is what invited Thompson in.
this battle for the minor placings there, including Brett Kitchen on 55 doing a great job. And that includes Yanni Shaw on board machine 333, one of the At1 Pro Race Suits entries, who was struggling yesterday with clutch problems. And what they found was the clutch that they put in was 2 millimeters too thick, and wasn't allowing him to depress the clutch and engage that on downshifting. So when he was running off the circuit, it was because he wasn't able to stop the bike, quite literally using them. Oh, talk about running off. Goodness me, that was the 82 of Chris Quinn. I think Thompson too deep under brakes at the end of the bikehaggle.com.au back straight, and just went in. All kudos to Quinn to be able to stand it upright, keep it on the grass rather than get into the gravel trap. And unfortunately for him, that's cost him a position.
Very unfortunate for Quinn there, as you say, wrong place, wrong time, and obviously just getting forced out with nowhere to go.
Neither of them were doing anything wrong.
That's right.
It's just that Thompson tried a little bit too deep, and I guess he'll be the first one to apologise to Chris Quinn at the end of the race. But that's racing. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
No harm, no foul, no injury, no incident really. So that's good news as well.
And of course, the good thing about a race like this is you've got 6 of them to try and make up points throughout the weekend.
Yanni Shaw there on the 333 under a bit of pressure from Brett Kitchen and Tim Griffin. Tim Griffin right up onto the tail of him. Brett Kitchen behind him a little bit further, heading down through bikebiz.com. Can't quite get it on the entry into Lord of the Lake. Now this young fella on the 333 said to me at Eastern Creek I'd be happy if I ended up in the top 10. He was 5th in the championship at the end of round number 1. He struggled throughout yesterday. Looks like he's got still a bit of a struggle under brakes at the end of the straights. Maybe potentially still struggling with that clutch problem. We'll try and pick that up throughout the day. Robbie Bugden, Ryan Yanko, Andrew Thompson, Simon Galloway and Brendan McIntyre are your top 5.
And the interesting thing is Thompson closing right up on Yanko now. He'll have a look on the inside and just blast straight past Yanko. So Thompson goes up into 2nd spot now. A real good fight from Thompson right throughout this race. And Yanko, who was 2nd and comfortable yesterday, has been upstaged here.
Lucky he wasn't on the outside of Thompson there, because Thompson seems to take a very mid-track entry into Matris Dampers, and I think that's also contributed to the fact of why Chris Quinn was forced out wide. Quinn wasn't expecting him to be so deep, as Robbie Bugden has just simply blitzed them throughout the race from go to woe. It's been all about Robbie Bugden, but he's been too far in front for the entertainment value. It's been for the minor placings. Andrew Thompson, Ryan Yanko. This is the battle for 3rd. Thompson a little bit wide. Yanko following him through there, gets a different run out of turn 3, down the bikebiz.com.au straight, heading into Lord of the Lakes turns 4 and 5.
Maybe just picking up a little tip from Thompson's line the lap before when he blasts straight past, but Yanko's only got one more real opportunity, and I don't think he's going to be close enough to get the job done here. So Thompson's going to upstage everybody and get 2nd here. We've kind of forgot about our winner, but he's been out on his own and just done a terrific job. Here's Robbie Bugden, and it's going to be a 5.5 second win.
Yes, the At1 Pro Race Suits entry, Kawasaki Robbie Bugden. He's a substitute rider for Sam Lambert. He takes the victory here in race 1 of the day, the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. Andrew Thompson holds off the challenges of Ryan Yanko. Simon Galloway looks like he'll finish in 4th. 5th place goes to Chris Quinn aboard his Yamaha, followed by Brendan McIntyre, Dean Hasler, Tim Griffith, Brett Kitchen, and rounding up the top 10 is Yanni Shaw.
Yeah, that was a good race for me. I got a really good start, and yeah, I just put my head down early, and you know, managed to get a little bit of a gap, and then I just sort of tried to maintain that. So yeah, look, you know, the At1 motorcycles, ZX10's a great bike, and you know, it's a pleasure to ride, and it's every time I go out there, the guys give me an awesome bike, and you know, it just makes my job so much easier. So yeah, big thank you to the team, and yeah, still 2 more to go, so we'll stay focused and see if we can get 2 more.
It's a hard job, that one. I've got to work on these starts. I think I was 7th or 8th in the Team 1, and yeah, just slowly picked him back and got into 2nd. But I need to apologise to Chris Quinn. I went up the inside of him in turn 3 and hit a false neutral, and we both ran out wide, and I nearly took him out, so I need to go and apologise to him. But other than that, good race. I'm happy. The bike's working really well.
At the start of the race, I sort of tried to keep with Robbie as much as I could, but he ended up breaking away when I hit a neutral through the left-handers there, and I thought I was starting to make a little bit of ground on him, and then all of a sudden I seen +0 on the lap board, and Andrew Thompson come flying past. So I tried to stay with him as well, but he had a lot better pace than me at the end of that race. I was a little bit tired and worn out, but he done well. Everyone done well.
There'll be more action from the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes later in the show. But after the break, it's the Matris Dampers, Supersports and AmSport 600s. Welcome back to Queensland Raceway for our round 2 coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX-Superbike Championship. We're getting ourselves ready very shortly for all the action from the Matris Dampers, Supersports and AmSport 600s. But first, let's have a quick look at the stars of tomorrow's standalone race, the C&D Grade riders contesting the Australian FX-Superbike Championship. Picking up where he left off from the opening round down in Sydney, Tim Griffiths stormed his way to the front, but was quickly upstaged by the BMW of John Stamnus in the early part of lap 1. Stamnus' time as race leader would be short-lived when Tim Griffiths slipped past him at the final corner at the end of the opening lap. Rawi Mahuka aboard a similar BMW tried to do the same thing around the outside but got all crossed up and headed straight for the tyre wall, but luckily he pulled up just in time. With Mahuka out of the picture, Griffith and Stamnus continued their battle for the lead, and on the very next lap, Griffith was almost squeezed out of racing room negotiating Matris Dampers turn 3, but managed to make the move stick and retake the lead. Further behind, there were a few key battles happening. Lee Appleby and Gary Keller were fighting hard all race long in their battle for 4th place, swapping positions a number of times. While slightly further up the road, Stamnus was fighting another battle, this time with Hamish McMurray for 2nd and 3rd places. But it was all Tim Griffith once again who took another Stars of Tomorrow win, ahead of the BMW of Stamnus and the Kawasaki of McMurray. We now move on from the Stars of Tomorrow to the Matris Dampers Supersports and AmSport 600s, and much like their Superbike cousins, the championship fight is already closely contested. As we take a look at the standings, it's Callum Barker who heads into his home round with a 5-point lead over Hayden Spinks. Grant Davis currently sits in 3rd with Ryan Sellen and Lincoln Goulding completing the top 5. Just outside that top 5 is Victorian-based Stephanie Redmond, who plays an integral part in Addicted to Track's multi-bike effort in the FX-Superbike Championship. She caught up with Becky Lamb a little earlier today.
Now this looks like a brand new team because it is for Stephanie Redfern for 2018. And Steph, take us through the new team. Tell me all about it and the best part about turning up this weekend.
The best part is that Addicted to Track provides a full service. So the company itself is actually based in Brisbane, started a couple of years ago, and they provide a track day and transportation service. So everything that you see here today is provided by them, and they do this for a business. So they take bikes, your bike, around the world, through Australia to various places, and they provide everything for you, so it's a really good service.
So let's talk about racing. When you come here every weekend, you look out into the track and you think, okay, am I going to win today? Am I not going to win today? Where's your headspace at?
This weekend we surprised ourselves a little bit with the pace. I mean, I've been working hard on my riding with the California Superbike School, and then Addicted to Tracks provided me a really good bike, and Edge Competition's done a really great job on setup. So that package combined has given us a really good chance at running up on the podium. We got 3 podiums yesterday, and we're hoping to maybe get a 2nd rather than 3rds today. But I mean, it's just the progression we've made from last year to round 1, and then now this round, we're getting closer and closer to the front.
We'll be picking up the racing action with race 2, but first let's look back at what happened in race 1. Supersport competitors were put on notice by the welcome addition of last year's 400 Supersport champion Max Croker, now aboard the Matt Mladen Suzuki. He won all 3 races on the Saturday program, but was upstaged at the start by Callum Barker, who took the lead negotiating turn 1. Croker quickly retaliated by passing his fellow Suzuki rival, approaching Matris Dampers turn 3, and quickly asserted his authority over his opposition. Not having the best of starts was Hayden Spinks, who started off the 2nd row and was already battling to be the lead Kawasaki in the field with fellow riders Simon Rees and Grant Davis. Meanwhile, further down the field, Matthew Franco's race would come to a premature halt and end when he crashed out of the final corner, just shy of completing his 2nd lap. Spinks and Rees would quickly break away from Davis's Kawasaki, who then fell back into the clutches of At1 Pro Race Suits teammate Ryan Sellen in their battle for team honours. Further ahead of the field, Stephanie Redmond was doing a stellar job aboard her Addicted to Track Yamaha as Spinks was closing the gap as the laps wore down. But at the front of the field, no one could catch Croker and the Matt Mladen Suzuki, taking another win for the weekend, with Barker making it a Suzuki 1-2 in second and Redmond an outstanding third on her Yamaha. And so here's the grid for race 2. The first 2 rows feature the Supersports with Max Croker, Callum Barker, Stephanie Redmond and Hayden Spinks completing the front row. Row 2 has Simon Rees, Grant Davis, Ryan Sellen and Brian Horton. Garth Graves leads the Amsport 600 field off row 3 with Brian Bolster, Oscar Davidson and Andrew Edser sitting alongside him. Whilst on row 4 we have Noel Mahone, Dave Wilson, Jason Brown and Matthew Franco.
Because we have 2 races within the one race here. Patrice Damper's Supersport 600 for the more modern day bikes. A good start there from everybody. None better than Max Croker on the Matt Mladen Suzuki. Down through turn 1, gets the whole shot very comfortably indeed. Look at the speed, look at the grace, look at the dexterity, but he's only just in front. Who's that in second place? It could be Callum Barker, right up the rear tail of Croker out in front, just hesitating there to see some of the battles a little bit further back. As the 41 of the Mladen Racing Nolan Motor X. Oh, we've got 2 riders off. Down in turn 3. This will undoubtedly, I'm sure, bring a delay to this one. Both of them are okay, although the rider on the furthest from the screen looks as though he's struggling a little bit with breath as the red flag does come out as expected with that one, unfortunately. And that all happened down at the end of the bikehaggle.com.au back straight. Here we go, underway, a good start there from our pole sitter again on the Suzuki. Max Croker and Callum Barker side by side going down into turn 1.
Case in point, Redmond and Spinks missed the jump a little bit, so first time around may have been better for them as they make their way through Dunlop Sport Max and then on to the bikehaggle.com.au back straight here at Queensland Raceway and down to the scene of the crime from a short while ago.
Look at the pair of Suzukis there. Barker trying to get up the inside there of Spinks. Will he be able to do it? Sorry, Max Croker, I beg your pardon. Unable to do it that time around by the looks of it. Croker had the line. And Barker it is still back in second place.
And they remain pretty well nose to tail. Have a look at this, Barker up on the inside. Has he got it done? I think
Oh, goes a bit wide. Oh, look at this side by side up the inside. You don't see that often there through the water of the lake.
Talk about the bravest people in sport. They're still side by side at 6.
Barker up the inside again. So after the initial start, the snap start from Croker, he led for half of it. Barker led for half of it. Barker it is that's out in front at the moment. Stephanie Redmond consolidating third place.
Spinks has had a shot from start, lost 3 spots down from 4th to 7th, but again, like he did earlier, he'll fight back through the field.
Barker, Croker, Redmond, Sellen and Rees.
The top 5 at this point in time, and of course point 1 separating the top 2, and you can see why they're still nose to tail down the back straight. Barker on the inside, and of course Croker on the outside, and in the braking zone it's Croker that gets the job done. Is he? Oh, he's a little bit wide coming through there, but he's able to hold on and hold the position for the moment. So very good work from those two to turn it on.
I reckon he lost the front end 3 times and the back end 4 times that time when he came down there. But to his credit, managed to be able to keep it upright and still has the race lead at the moment. Stephanie Redmond consolidating third, a pretty lonely ride for her. It's been a weekend affair for her in that respect in terms of third place and fairly lonely. She hasn't really been challenged all that much, has she, for third?
Not at all, and she even mentioned yesterday, story of the day, third.
Yep.
When she was talking downstairs in the interview. So Croker leads Barker, Redmond, Sellen and Rees as they come down the back straight. We're watching this battle between Spinks and Davis. Rees, I should say. Yep. They've changed spots, obviously, halfway through that lap there with Spinks now chasing down Sellen and also Redmond further ahead there.
The 23 of Brian Sellen, the Security Solutions Moto Hub Silverline Kawasaki ZX6R. and the 322 of Simon Rees, the Castle Hill Motorcycles Kawasaki ZX6R.
Quick observation so far. Look how well Redmond stuck with Croker and Barker. Really good effort from the young lady.
Yeah, she's not really gained anything, but she's certainly not lost anything, which is what you're pointing out.
Yep, no, she's done a tremendous job thus far and really gapped the rest of the pack, which includes Selin Rees and Spinks as they come across the line once more. Spinks still holding on the 6th position at the moment, trying to get by Selin up on the inside. Oh, he got the job done. Nicely done on the inside there as they head up to Sport Max, but Selin looks to fight back on the inside. No, he has to yield going in. So turn 2 into Dunlop Sport Max. They'll hit the bike, haggle.com.au back straight. And look at this, the two of them side by side, Selin and Spinks. And now will Selin be able to convert on the slipstream? The answer is no for the moment.
Not quite close enough that time around.
And again, they both take different lines.
They do, very much different lines. Just in front of both of those is Simon Rees doing a good job on the 322. Stephanie Redmond on 49 in 3rd place.
We'll have 5 laps to go as they continue race 5, round 2, the Australian FX-Superbike Championship for Hi-Tec Royals, and of course round 1 of the Queensland Domestic Dunlop Super Series here at Queensland Raceway as well.
Looking at the riders going through turn 2, which is known as Dunlop Sports Max at the moment. This is the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th placing. We have Rees, Spinks and Selin. They're heading down the bike, haggle.com.au back straight.
And it looks as though all of our top 6 have managed to consolidate their positions now.
They certainly have. Stephanie Redmond in 3rd place, of course on the Addicted to Track Racing Yamaha R6. That family business owned by Mark and Michelle, which started in 2016 and is based up here in Queensland at Brisbane, is all about the transportation and track day service. So if you want to get your bike to a racetrack across Australia or indeed worldwide, you can get it organised by Addicted to Track. For example, in March of this year, they travelled across to New Zealand with a group of Australian riders to 4 of the Southern Island tracks and did a great job. So Edge Competition, YRD, Race Art, West Sliders and Racondi also supporting the Addicted to Track young lady.
Fastest lap of the race thus far for Croker, 1 minute 12.9407. Running order, Croker, Barker, Redmond, Rees and Spinks on lap 6 of 9. So we're almost 2/3 of the way through. We're watching our leader at the moment.
That's Callum Barker,
actually.
Our
second place
runner on the Power Plus Racondi High Side Leathers Repairs. Suzuki GSXR 600. Max Croker has just put in the fastest lap of the 1:12.94. Obviously his personal best, but so too did Barker, a 1:13.2. So about 0.3 seconds off the pace of our race leader, but both putting in PB times.
And you've noticed that from being side by side on those opening 2 laps, Croker's just been able to edge away ever so slightly over the last couple of laps. And talk about the bravest people in sport. Have a look at the commitment going into turn 6 from Croker there. I mean, not to mention the insane antics of Croker and Barker at turn 5 on the opening lap when they were 2 by 2. But that, the level of commitment in motorcycle racing, you've got to admire these guys.
Certainly do. Talking about that sort of thing, walking around the pits in the beginning of the day before the racing starts. Tim Griffith was showing us his right toe on his boot where his slider had completely worn out and gone to the leather, so he had to go and get a spare one and put it on. Talk about commitment.
I was going to say, you'd wear a couple of good knee grooves in the race suits around tracks like this in Sydney Motorsport Park as well. And I can't wait to see what happens when they get to Lakeside.
Stephanie Redmond on screen there, doing a great job on board that Addicted to Track entry, the Yamaha R6.
Probably a good opportunity to talk about our female races. We've got a few in the paddock this weekend. Redmond's certainly been the most drawn at the pointy end of the field.
Yes, she certainly has. She's been a stalwart in this category and supporting rider development and training programs throughout her racing career, and is certainly not backward in coming forward in helping anybody out that needs help.
So she'll make her way around onto the main straight as Barker and also Croker ahead of him do the same. And that gap between Barker and Redmond is now 3.6 seconds. It might stretch out to 4 here. It has 4.8. So she's lost a fair bit of ground. on that last lap. But she's in absolutely no danger as long as she keeps it upright of losing third position here. And I think, given her consistency thus far, she'll be quite happy with that.
Well, she's had 4 third placings already. Oh, no, sorry, 3 third placings because she was in 4th, I think, in the first encounter yesterday.
With Spinks, yeah.
Yep, with Spinks. So she's certainly got the credentials. She's certainly got the career path as well. She's doing a great job out there.
You mentioned Spinks. We were on Spinks watch there a short while ago when he dropped from 4th to 7th on the opening lap. He's only managed to get back to 5th thus far. So at this point in time, it looks as though he'll be on an outside second row start when we get to race 6 a little bit later on this afternoon.
On screen, Callum Barker doing a great job on the Power Plus Racondi high side leather repairs Suzuki GSXR 600.
1.8 seconds the margin between himself and Croker ahead of him, who's going to take the last lap forward this time. But Croker punched out his fastest lap of the race on lap 7, 1 minute 12.84, and Barker on lap 6 at 1 minute 12.9. So that's how evenly matched they are.
And you can see there on our timing screen, Croker has just put in a 0.3 of a second faster lap, so it's now 2.18 seconds the gap between Croker and Barker, I beg your pardon. Redmond a little bit further back in 3rd place. 4th is Reese. 5th is Spinks, and rounding up the top 6 is Ryan Sellen.
So he could cruise home from here, could Croker, although I wouldn't encourage it because Barker will pounce if he senses an opportunity. But I think the race is run here. It's just a matter of formality now. Croker bring it home and grab yet another win. And of course, the form guide all weekend, it's been Croker, Barker, but Croker's had the upper hand for the better part of it.
Yes, doing a fine job throughout the weekend so far with Mladen Racing, Nolan Motorex Australia, AGV Sport, Woolwich Racing, Suzuki Motorcycles Australia, GSXR 600, and it is all about Max Croker through the final turn. He'll greet the checkered flag ahead of the rest of the pack. Callum Barker in 2nd place. Both riders doing a marvellous job. Further back and under a little bit of pressure in this late stage is Stephanie Redmond, but she's done enough to be able to greet the checkered flag in 3rd placing to the delight of everybody. Well, no, she hasn't. She's been overtaken. Goodness gracious me, look at that.
Yeah, we've lost Reese and Spinks too, by the way, Lance. It was just a shot on screen there a moment ago. We've lost Reese and Spinks over at turn 4.
And yes, you're correct, Zach. This is exactly what happened on the replay. Both men were side by side approaching Races World Turn 4, and it was at that point that Reese has low-sided whilst negotiating the turn and has unintentionally collected Spinks in the process. And here it is again from Hayden Spinks' perspective. So Max Croker takes another victory for the weekend, ahead of Callum Barker and Ryan Sellen. Stephanie Redmond just misses out on a podium with a creditable 4th, followed by Grant Davis aboard his Kawasaki. Rounding out the top 10 are Garth Graves, Andrew Edzer, Matthew Franco, Noel Mahone and Dave Wilson.
Yeah, it was a great race. Couldn't seem to shake Callum throughout that race, but we managed to stay consistent and take the win, which we're happy about. But it started to warm up a little bit, so it changes the setup of the bike a little bit, but we're still going forward, which is good.
Here are the highlights for race 3, where the main attraction was the fight for the race lead between the Suzukis of Max Croker and Callum Barker. Barker grabbed the initial lead at the start and led for the opening couple of corners with Stephanie Redmond dropping into 3rd. Croker, however, was not content to sit back and follow Barker's lead and dived past him at Matris Dampers to claim the race lead. Croker would lead the rest of the opening lap before Barker gave him a taste of his own medicine the very next lap by executing the same move at the same corner to reclaim the lead. His lead was once again brief when Croker took back the lead at turn 4 and cleared away to a small but comfortable lead. Further back, Hayden Spinks was back on board his spare bike and racing into championship contention whilst battling the at-one pair of Sellen and Davis for 4th place. Whilst further back in the field, in the Amsport 600 pack, Matthew Franco was having a weekend he'd rather forget when he went wide and agricultural at Matris Dampers in turn 3. Back at the front, Croker made round 2 completely his own and took out the 3rd Sunday race, completing a clean sweep of race wins ahead of Barker and Redmond. Barker's consistency now sees him in a commanding lead in the championship ahead of Hayden Spinks, who retained 2nd place. Grant Davis and Ryan Sellen remain in 3rd and 4th respectively, while Stephanie Redmond completes the top 5. The title fight in the Matris Dampers Supersport and Amsport 600 resumes at the next round at Lakeside Park in September. But after the break, we have more on-track action with the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes. Thanks for joining us once again here at Queensland Raceway for our Round 2 coverage of the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship. As you can see, the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes are heading out on the track for the third and final race of the weekend. But before we get there, let's have a look at what happened in race 2. Before the race had even begun, there was a drama on the warm-up lap when Heath Griffin caught the inside ripple strip negotiating turn 1 and crashed out. The crash caused significant damage to the Ducati Panigale, and as a consequence, he has withdrawn from the remainder of the weekend. Once the incident was cleared, it was Robbie Bugden who again got the jump on his opposition when the race got underway. But it was Brendan McIntyre who stormed up into second position by turn 1. It would be short-lived, however, as Simon Galloway rocketed past him at Matris Dampers turn 3 to reclaim second spot. McIntyre would then drop back to 5th place after the opening lap, as Andrew Thompson charged his way up to 3rd place on lap 2 at Matris Dampers, recovering from a slowish start on board his BMW. He would quickly hunt down Galloway's Yamaha before passing him for second at the same corner just 1 lap later. At about half race distance, Galloway would drop out of the top 3 as the fellow Yamaha of Chris Quinn would shoot past him at Racers World turns 4 and 5. Whilst further back in the pack, there was an exciting battle for 5th and 6th placing between Tim Griffith and Dean Hasler. It was a battle that would go right through to the finish. With all that going on behind him, Bugden would race away to an unassailable race lead and take out race 2 ahead of Andrew Thompson and Chris Quinn, who rounded out the podium. And so here's the grid for the third and final race of the weekend. The front row consists of Bugden, Thompson, Quinn and Galloway, with Dean Hasler, Tim Griffith, Michael Edwards and Brendan McIntyre completing the second row. Row 3 consists of Brett Kitchen, Yarnie Shaw, John Stamness and Hamish McMurray, with Wayne Williams and Carlos Rendon completing the field on row 4.
Who will it be that gets a whole shot this time? Ready to go, Bugden. He wasn't in gear. He's bogged down uncharacteristically there, not set for the race. He's not going to get the whole shot. Missed who it was that got the whole shot there, though. Was it Thompson? Bugden, 3rd or 4th as they head down the back straight for the first time. Here he is coming high, wide and handsome around the rest of the field to try and make up for lost ground. Some of them taking up the green stuff on the outside. It's actually Simon Galloway that's leading on the Yamaha. Wow, a very poor start there has cost Bugden. He's way back. Problems with the bike by the looks of it. 3rd place is, I think you'll find, the Edwards on 37. So out of the infield they come. It is the 46 of Galloway, followed through then by the 12 of Thompson in 2nd place. 3rd place is the 37 of Edwards. Where is Robbie Bugden? Back in 6th place, I think you'll find.
Oh, well, that makes things exciting for the next 8 laps, seeing how far Bugden can get back through, if he can get back to the front. A tremendous start for Galloway and Thompson. And then, of course, Hasler's in there as well. So, unbelievable start from Galloway, and it's just a matter of how long he can hold the pack off for, because we saw him earlier having a fight with Thompson, Quinn and the like, and he wasn't able to hold them off for too long. And now look at him, already the pressure mounting on Galloway as they head back down the back straight. But what a great confidence booster for him, given the weekend tail that he's had. Now he's lost the lead.
Yeah, Thompson up the inside him at the end of bikehaggle.com.au. Here comes a switchback on the inside for Galloway. Can he get it? And look at that, right behind the two of them is Edwards, trying very hard on the 37 as they head down bikebiz.com. The 12. It is, yes indeed. Sunshine in the distance there, making it difficult from our box here. Thompson leads. Galloway in 2nd, Edwards in 3rd. Here comes Robbie Bugden though, look out for him. It might have been a poor start from him. I couldn't believe that he had the bike in neutral. It wasn't until almost the red light was extinguished you could see and hear the cluck of him getting it into gear.
And look at him now closing in on Edwards and Galloway as well. Galloway, all over the back of him they are at the moment. Bugden down the inside of Edwards. Job done there, although Edwards wants to fight the issue on the outside and will do just that. And he looks to go around the outside of Galloway, but in doing so, he will almost lose out. No, he won't yet. To Bugden, who's all over the back of him like a rush. And now they're 2-3 wide coming down towards Lord of the Lake once more. Tremendous pressure on Galloway, tremendous pressure on Edwards from the man that's won all the races so far this weekend, Robbie Bugden.
Yeah, I think it's tremendous pressure on Robbie Bugden by himself. Gets the drive out of Lord of the Lake to the rundownraces.world up the inside. No, he can't. Well, what a great effort there from Edwards to get up. It's still Galloway in front of the two of them, though. Here comes Robbie up the inside. Gives him the line down Hi-Tec Oils. Into Shark Leathers, tips it in, job done, up into third place.
Probably a lot longer than he would have liked to have been sitting there behind Edwards for the moment as they come through turn 2 again.
All of this and to the advantage of Thompson, though, leading this one by 1.7 seconds ahead of Galloway now. Right behind him is Bugden. Now, Galloway's not going to give up this second place too easily. He'll want it. It's forcing Bugden to go onto lines that he doesn't normally run. A little bit wider, a little bit deeper than he would normally run. Up the inside of Galloway, not wasting any time down Bike Biz. In through turns 4 and 5, Lord of the Lake. Now he's got his sights firmly set on our race leader, Andrew Thompson.
Just a slick and smooth operator, Robbie Bugden, isn't he? I mean, yeah, okay, that mistake at the start, that could happen to anybody. But right now, he's back in second spot, and he's got the better part of 5 laps now to try and close the gap and then get by Thompson and take the win in this race as well. And wouldn't he love that, given all the trials and tribulations he's been through just to get onto the grid this weekend. He'd love to finish the weekend on the podium.
Yeah, just recapping, reminding everybody on Thursday at lunchtime, this Yamaha R1 at Chris Watson Motorcycles was completed, put together by Simon Galloway and his supporters. He packed it into the van, drove the 10.5 hours up here to Queensland Raceway from Cessnock Motorcycles, and then put the first wheel on the circuit on Friday morning. When I asked him how it was going, he said it has been an absolute horrendous day of trying to set everything up from scratch, and certainly took an effort yesterday racing to be able to continue to develop and put the bike together smoothly enough for him to be comfortable with it. Today it's like a duck to water. He's back to the old Simon Galloway.
From starting out the weekend with everything not going as he would like to, now everything going as slickly and as smoothly as he would like. It's been a huge full circle wheel turn sort of a weekend for Galloway, and right now it's paying off. He's sitting in third spot, but look at Bugden closing in now on Thompson. The battle for the race lead is about to erupt, ladies and gentlemen, as they head down the back straight. Magnificent work from Thompson to lead for as long as he has, but I think his glory is about to be short-lived.
The At1 Pro Race Suits, BC Performance, Moto Hub, Silkaline, Liquid Performance, Hell Australia, Kawasaki, ZX10R, Robbie Bugden filling in for the injured Sam Lambert for the team. He's had victory after victory this weekend. Had the poorest start that I've seen him have, I guess, in his race career, you've got to say.
Yep.
And now he's chasing down our race leader, the Cutright Concrete Soaring and Drilling Queensland rider himself on the BMW, and that is Andrew Thompson, who has been snapping at his heels throughout the entire weekend, and it would be justice for him to take a victory in this final race.
It would be, and it wouldn't be a full representation of the form guide given the dominance of Bugden, but geez, it would be nice to see for Thompson. However, Robbie Bugden's going to have a say in that. We're on lap 7 now. We've got 3 to go, so 2 1/4 as they come, sorry, 2 3/4 as they come out of turn 2 and head along the bikehaggle.com.au back straight. Look at Bugden now, get down on the inside. Will he go under brakes on Thompson? Yes, he will, and Bugden has resumed the lead where he started the weekend, where he's been most of the weekend, and now we've seen his class and his ability to come through the field as well.
Yeah, it'll give him the perfect score with a victory here. Not only did he dominate qualifying, but he dominated the Saturday program with 2 comprehensive race victories. This one has not been as comprehensive as the 2 previous. We've got somebody that's fallen off, holding a wrist there, looking a little bit second hand. Will this bring a premature halt to the race? Just looking to see where it is. It's on the exit of turn 3. It is in a position that could be deemed to be a little bit precarious. Yes. Red flag has been brought out. Unfortunately, Robbie Bugden assumed the race lead on the previous lap, and that is the unfortunate 18 of Tim Griffith on the BC Performance tag, Avionics, Coolman Logistics, Kawasaki, ZX-10R, the rider that we'd been talking about earlier on in other race categories who'd been doing so well, unfortunately just getting it all wrong that time around. Hopefully it's just a bit of a sprain, a bit of a twinge on the arm, nothing untoward by the looks of it. Will it be the number 12 of Thompson or Bugden? Bugden gets the start that we've been used to. He should get the whole shot down into turn 1. Job done this time by Robbie Bugden.
1,000% better than the previous start, you'd have to say, and that's what I said earlier. There are people who like getting a second chance to start, and there are people who loathe it. Robbie Bugden's certainly grateful for his second opportunity to start this race.
In second place, sorry, there is the number 46 of Simon Galloway, so he's got ahead also of Andrew Thompson.
Yeah, equally impressive start from Galloway, just like he did in the original start a short while ago, so he'll be looking to convert into a podium finish here, and they make their way up the bikebiz.com.au straight for the first. It's a quickie, it's 3 laps, less time to get the job done, but there's plenty of business to be sorted out.
Talking about getting the job done there, Brendan McIntyre getting around the outside of Michael Edwards as they went down into Lord of the Lake that time around. A great effort from the Western Motorcycle Sydney, Rick Popjoy, 7 Friday, Suzuki rider, although he's opened up the door there and allowed Edwards to get back up the inside of him as they entered shock treatment. A little bit too wide there by McIntyre, and Edwards needed no second opportunity or invitation. Robbie Bugden, Simon Galloway, Andrew Thompson, Michael Edwards and Brendan McIntyre, your top 5 at the end of lap 1 of 3 of this 2-part encounter of the 5th and final race of the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes.
Just in the slipstream now as we have a look at Galloway under pressure from Thompson, and Thompson dives down the inside. So Thompson goes to second, Galloway relegated in all of that, but he'll take plenty of confidence out of this result if he can hold on and finish off with a podium, given the weekend he's had thus far. Galloway back to 3rd, but he's not giving up just yet. He's still there with Thompson, and he's only got a lap and a half to go. As Bugden, Thompson and Galloway lead 1, 2 and 3 onto the back straight for the last time. This is the 9th and final lap of the race. In 2 parts, of course. Bugden's done everything that he needed to do. 1.92 seconds, so that gives him an effective margin of 1.7 over Thompson and Galloway. But by gee, Galloway's impressed me in this race.
He certainly has. He's come on very strongly, and it certainly is an indictment to his efforts overall on the weekend. As Robbie Bugden pilots machine number 24, the At1 Pro Race Suits, BC Performance, Moto Hub Sulcoline, Liquid Performance, Hell Australia, Kawasaki ZX-10R through the final turns and up towards the checkered flag to take his 5th and final victory for the weekend. All accolades out to him. Second place goes to Andrew Thompson. Simon Galloway in 3rd place.
Michael Edwards comes through to finish in 4th with Chris Quinn in 5th, Brendan McIntyre 6th, then it's Hasler, Kitchen, Shaw and McMurray completing the top 10.
Yeah, that was really good. It was I made an absolute meal at the start before in that first part, and I left myself a lot of work, that's for sure, and you know, I managed to piece my way through the front, but yeah, unfortunately that red flag came out. But yeah, that second one was much better, and look, it's been a bit of a perfect weekend for us. You know, I can't thank the team enough. The A1 racing team and the Kawasaki ZX10 has been brilliant.
Actually, I've actually led the first race for 6 odd laps, so I was pretty happy about it. Got the starts a little bit better. But Robbie and Simon just rode fantastic that last race, and Simon's going good like he normally does, but he had a bit of a rough day yesterday. He was going good, but no, the Cut-Right BMW is just working beautifully. They've got some great guys in the team that have been working hard, and I just really appreciate it.
Oh, look, it's been a mission to get here this week. I had some issues with the bike last weekend and had to build a new one. I've been up to 3 in the morning, every morning, trying to get here, and finally starting to get it dialed in, so I was really glad to be speaking to you.
Congratulations to Robbie Bugden for a clean sweep in the bikehaggle.com.au Superbikes as Brendan McIntyre consolidates his championship lead despite a tough weekend here at Queensland Raceway. We still have more racing to come next time you join us when we bring you all the major support categories from the Hi-Tec Oils Australian FX Superbike Championship.